Internships is your chance to experience 9 to 5, your opportunity to gain work experience, your doorway to getting a lucrative return offer. Well, that's the ideal case. Most likely, you're just gonna sit in the office doing nothing for 8 hours straight. And no, reading company blogs doesn't count as doing something. Unfortunately, your supervisors are usually busy as shit. I mean, they have their own stuff to manage. They ain't got time to assign you any work. So your first week of internships usually gonna look like this. You go to the company, you talk with your supervisor, you remind him that you're an intern. Yeah, sometimes you may even forget there's an intern coming. And then you just deal with the admin stuff, like setting up your email, filling out forms, waiting for the IT department to give you access to folders. After that, congratulations, you have no work to do for the rest of the day, maybe the rest of the week. And it's already pretty normal compared to some insane scenarios I've heard before. One of my friends got an internship, but the original supervisor who interviewed him left the company, so the new supervisor had no idea what my friend was supposed to do here and told him to wait a month before he could assign him a new project. And before you say, oh, if you got no work to do, just find some work to do. Go ask your coworkers and beg for work. Go pull coffees for them or something. But bro, you're not gonna be able to pull coffees for 8 hours straight, right? Most of the time, you still have no work to do. Besides, you might not even be allowed to access the documents that your coworkers are working on, so they would be really hesitant about giving you work. Not to mention, you won't even understand what your coworkers are doing. You're just an intern, so the most you can do is to ask what they're doing, but you're gonna risk being annoying pretty soon if you keep asking them every 10 minutes. Now you might think, isn't it really cool that you can do nothing and still get paid? Yeah, it's cool for the first few days, but it's really not that cool. You have no work to do, but it's not like you're free. It's not like you can just open up Netflix and start watching a movie in your office, because you still need to pretend to work, which is more painful than actually working. You have to stare at your computer and read company blogs for 8 hours straight just to fake your productivity, so I'd rather have some actual work to do. Now, what are you supposed to do if you have no work in your internship? Well, since I'm also having an internship right now, I do have a few recommendations that you can take note of. First of all, you gotta remind your supervisor that you'll be working as an intern in his company, at least like a few weeks before your internship starts. Seriously, they're either so busy or do not give enough shit to remember you. And you don't want your supervisor to ask you who's the new guy on your first day. That's a slight exaggeration, but it could happen. And that's why you gotta confirm with your supervisor. You gotta remind him of the project that you're doing in your internship. And there's still a chance you won't have actual work to do in the first week, but at least you have done your due diligence. Anyway, to my next point, I'm not really sure if reading company blogs is gonna help with your internship. You do learn a bit more about the company, but it's just surface level. You're not gonna know what the company culture is just by reading blogs on their website. Everyone can see the website, so they're not gonna reveal if the company culture is micromanagement or overworking their employees to death, otherwise they'll lose all their clients. That's why I'd rather research the skills I need in my internship than read company blogs. I believe that's more substantial if you want to improve your performance. If you're a software engineering intern, maybe learn more about the coding stuff before you have actual work. Maybe research more about Python or GitHub or whatever stuff that's related to the internship. Sorry, I have no idea what you need to do as a software engineer, but you get the point. Another thing you can do to kill your time is to stretch the hell out of that water cooler talk. If you see your colleagues walking towards that water cooler, just ask them as many questions as possible. Like how long they've worked here, what's their favorite thing about working here, or whatever you can think of. That's much better than reading company blogs if you really want to understand more about a company, and it's also much less boring in my opinion. Not to mention you got a chance to network with them. Now, I have a final solution to having no work in my internship. I'm not sure if that can be applied to everyone, so just take this with a grain of salt. So, as you have noticed now, I'm a small YouTuber. That means I have to balance my YouTube with my full-time job. You get where I'm going, right? I work on my channel during work. Now obviously I'm not gonna be able to record audio or edit my video, so I mostly focus on writing my script if I have spare time. The way I do this is to open two Google tabs. One tab is for pretending I'm taking notes from my internship, another tab is for the script, and I switch between tabs when my coworkers walk past me. Most of the time I can squeeze about 30 to 40 minutes to work on my script, which is not much compared to the 4-hour slot I have after work, but still, it's better than nothing. It's also better than you doom scrolling or watching YouTube when you have read all the company blogs. So yeah, you can try working on your personal project if you really have nothing to do in your internship. I'm not sure if this is gonna work because it really depends on your work environment. Thanks for watching. This is Mr. Machine.